I'm Joachim von Braun, the Director General of IFPRI. This is the second of three events which IFPRI hosts on issues related to climate change and agriculture. This one is a very special one, as I'm sure the next one will be. Actually, the next one will be June 25. Book it in your calendar. With, again, a very distinguished panel then, looking at the dynamics of the agenda, including very much from a small farmer perspective, June 25 event. We have farmer leaders included in that panel, in addition to climatologists and economists. Today's event is particularly special because we have IFPRI's distinguished Board of Trustees with us. Key members are in the audience and on the panel. Ross Garnaut is not only by documentation of this book, a heavyweight in climate change. The Garnaut Climate Change Review, I think, was a frontrunner setting standards for climate change policies and had and does have deeply impacted on Australia's policy. Ross Garnaut is a professor at Australian National University and at University of Melbourne. He is chair of IFPRI's Board of Trustees and of Lihir Gold Limited. So Ross is an academic, a business leader, and he happened to be a diplomat. He was Australia's ambassador to China for 3 very important years. He is currently advising Australia's Prime Minister. The book I was just waving with, which I dearly recommend to all of you, has been published in Cambridge University Press late last year. Our second panelist is William Hornstein. Mr. Hornstein serves as the director of the Global Change Program Office, the GCPO, and is responsible for coordinating global change research and program activities for the US Department of Agriculture. He serves as a focal point on issues of climate change for the Secretary of Agriculture and leads the strategic thinking in that field, not only in USDA. He served as a division director of EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, before, and is part of the delegation of international negotiations on climate change for the US government. Mr. Hornstein, we are very happy that you were able to join us despite of your extremely busy schedule, especially these days. And last not least, we have Gerald Nelson with us on the panel. Jerry has released today this set of policy briefs, which was awaiting you on your chairs. It's released today. We had just an international media call-in with about 30 journalists from all over the world with very interested and interesting questions around the issues of agriculture and climate change, an agenda for negotiation in Copenhagen, in and before Copenhagen. Jerry Nelson has his PhD from Stanford University. He is a senior research fellow at IFPRI. He leads our climate change research in IFPRI, which we are happy to report to you about, is in the process of being scaled up. Board of Trustees reviewed our program yesterday and indicated strong support for positioning climate change much more significant even than we do up till now on the IFPRI research agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it requires that you see climate change to get touched by it. I was a few months ago traveling in Morocco. If you look at climate change maps, Morocco and Vietnam are sort of the red ones among the 5 or 6 most affected, to be expected, affected countries by climate change already today. And Mohammed Eid Qadi, the former Minister of Irrigation and Water Management, a former IFPRI Board of Trustee, and I and my wife traveled from Fez to Rabat through the Atlas Mountains, and Mohammed said, let's have a cup of tea at that lake where I always stop. And it's so nice there. And we curved through the Atlas Mountains to that lake, and the lake was gone. The lake was no longer. There was dust. The coffee shop had been cardboarded a few weeks before, and I have never seen an IFPRI board member as shocked as Mohammed at that moment, because he knows water, climate, agriculture inside out in his country, and it's predicted that these incidents will happen more and more today. So we are not talking about the future only. Ladies and gentlemen, I point to the policy briefs, and I'm sure we will have a great discussion with our panelists. I think we have to confront 2 major risks when it comes to agriculture and climate change. Risk number 1 is, of course, bad weather, but risk number 2 is bad policies. Bad policies around climate change, not addressing the issue seriously enough or addressing the issue with creating distortions.